Megan, this was tough news for light rail officials to deliver, but more importantly, prevent a catastrophic wildfire from hitting Flagstaff. The ASU Foundation is under attack from this report, which compares ASU and U of A's university foundations. Arizona Agriculture brings over $9 billion to the state. Then the communication specialist types up their information, comes over here, dials 9998. Christine, the controversy swirls around this 12-page document. You never know what you may or may not see. Live in Tempe, I'm Ian Lee for Cronkite News Watch. It was one of the most massive and destructive fires ever to rip through the state of Arizona. Part of the reason the Rodeo Chetasky fire took off so fast throughout the treetops is because of what's down here on the ground. For 100 years, debris on the forest floor has been building up across the state, but now the Forest Service has a new mission targeting this fuel.
Fire is a natural part of this ecosystem, and it's just as important as water, as air.
The Coconino National Forest around Flagstaff is playing catch-up, trying to burn parts of the forest and get it under control before an out-of-control fire threatens the city. Firefighters are hoping that this control burn will help create more turkey habitat, but more importantly, prevent a catastrophic wildfire from hitting Flagstaff.
The better we can protect, again, people's stuff and their livelihood by doing things like prescribed fire, the better off we're going to be later on down the road when there is a wildfire, and there will be.
But protecting Flagstaff isn't the only benefit of this fire. They hope it will create more room for wildlife and also save you some money.
Take a look at the amount of resources and cost it takes to suppress a fire, and you compare that with what it takes to implement a prescribed fire, and a full suppression is 10, 12 times.
The Forest Service is just one part of a nationwide effort to prevent large fires.
For so long, we've had too much bad fire and not enough good fire, and this prescribed fire is changing that tide.
But some people have a unique way of looking at it.
Prescribed fires are insurance policy against catastrophic wildfires, and smoke's just our down payment.
Firefighters try to limit the smoke that fills Flagstaff and Sedona, but they hope smoke is the only thing these residents have to deal with. In Flagstaff, I'm Ian Lee for Cronkite News Service. This was the scene earlier this year as police swept in part of a major crackdown. And this is the scene now, a much safer street.
This is what we want. We want the bad guys, the drug dealing, all the crimes associated with them, we want them gone.
To accomplish this, police teamed up with local residents in Operation Grand Finale. That was just one part of this community's fight to take back their streets and buildings.
For better than 5 years, there was constant drug dealing from almost every single apartment on there. You couldn't drive by that place without seeing the open drug dealing on the balcony.
This blue and white apartment behind me used to be the center of drug activity, but when the neighbors got involved, they talked to the landlord, they hired a new manager, now there's new tenants with a cleaner image.
There was homicides, stabbings, shootings. I've sat out here and witnessed those. Police could never get rid of them. One single lady knocked on each and every door, got rid of the whole problem. It was what we wanted in the first place, and it's been clean since.
But the neighbors couldn't do it by themselves. They work closely with police who meet with them every month to discuss any problems.
But the neighbors here are here all the time, and they watch our backs. They see things that are going on in the alleys, and by their observations and reporting them to us, we're not wasting time.
With this close relationship with the police, these neighbors aren't afraid to do what's necessary to keep their streets safe.
If there's any fear, the criminals have to fear the good people in the neighborhood.
In Phoenix, I'm Ian Lee for Cronkite News Watch. Tim Dunn's family has worked these fields for years.
I'm a third-generation farmer.
But because of the new employer sanction laws, that family tradition might soon become another part of history.
Everybody's just working longer days, more hours right now. It's just definitely harder to manage.
Because of the tough new law, many agricultural workers are returning to Mexico, leaving few to the harvest. Arizona Agriculture brings over $9 billion to the state, but if a solution isn't found to bring back the workers, it could turn fields like these into this. And if farms aren't able to get help here, some are moving where they can.
There's large farms that are putting production in Mexico. I don't blame those companies for looking. They're in the business of making sure they protect their bottom line.
Dunn can see why they're doing this, but thinks the government should do something to help them stay.
It comes back down to a homeland security issue, food security issue. We have the safest food supply. It's because you have American growers growing it. But let's keep our food supply coming from the United States.
keeping it in the United States for the next generation. In Yuma, I'm Ian Lee for Cronkite News Service. Christine, the controversy swirls around this 12-page document criticizing spending at ASU's foundation, but we discovered the story goes well beyond what's in this report. It's a 12-page report that got headlines all across the valley. Embarrassing allegations of financial mismanagement by the Arizona State University Foundation.
Several months ago, I began analyzing the Arizona State University Foundation's Form 990 tax returns without expectations. This report details just how far the ASU Foundation has strayed from its mission in recent years.
The Coalition for Justice at Great Western Erectors claims in this report that the ASU Foundation is spending too much money on itself and not enough on students. The report compares the foundation to its counterparts at other universities. 56% of the organization's money went to overhead last year, and only 44% to the school. Compare that to the University of Arizona's 81% and the University of Florida's 64%.
This kind of stuff makes me only angrier.
Overhead expenses that infuriate ASU student and coalition member Naisha Valenzuela.
Like, where's this money going? It's not going to help students like myself.
But the report isn't the only thing raising a few eyebrows. The group behind it, the Coalition for Justice at Great Western Erectors, is too.
Their statements are inaccurate, misleading, in a lot of cases just downright false.
ASU counters this number with one of its own. In a statement, the foundation says the coalition falsely reported the ASU Foundation's overhead expenses at 56% when they are 20%. But we wanted to know why a group called Coalition for Justice at Great Western Erectors would look at Arizona State in the first place. So we did some digging and discovered through the Arizona Corporation Commission that a company called Great Western Erectors does construction across the country. Howard Parsons is general manager.
What they're trying to do is put pressure on owners who we do business with to get them to not do business with Great Western.
You see, ASU Foundation hired Great Western for the construction of a new building. Now the foundation is caught in the middle of a labor dispute. The coalition, a member of the AFL-CIO, is targeting the company for alleged employee mistreatment.
All this is a union organizing campaign, and this is part of their tactics.
So consider this from the press conference one more time.
I began analyzing the Arizona State University Foundation's Form 990 tax returns without expectations.
But both Great Western Erectors and Arizona State Foundation insist there were expectations to damage reputations. In the end, even spokeswoman Sarah Michaelbust admitted it comes down to company, not university.
The issue that the coalition has is the irresponsible contracting that's going on at Great Western Erectors.
So that's one issue.
That's the primary issue.
Now, ASU Foundation spokeswoman Kathy Clarkson says they plan to take legal action against the coalition in order to repair any damage done by this report. I'm Ian Lee for Cronkite News Watch.